Honourable Minister of Information Technology and Digital Services of courses in dentistry, courses in healthcare management and obstetric medicine that are on pipeline. So I hope these training programs will be very helpful.
Thank you, sir. We are very happy to have with us Father Matthew Abraham this evening. Father Matthew is a Redemptorist priest with an MBBS from Kottayam Medical College and an MD in Community Medicine from CNC Vellore in the field of health and is passionate about compassionate marginalized. I now have the honor.
I stand here with a lot of gratitude. I'll tell you why. Whether we are man or woman, but essentially healthcare is an expression of love. In the field, one act of kindness every day can make us happy. Happiness is not something that we achieve and stay there forever and ever. That is something which we have to discover every day.
Things planned long ago. Honourable Chief Guest, special guest,
Head of the Distance Education.
my immense pleasure and honour to introduce our Chief Guest for this evening, Dr. Palanivel, Rajan, Honourable Minister for Information Technology and Digital Services, Government of Tamil Nadu, India. Dr. Palanivel Rajan is the Minister of Information Technology and Digital Services in Tamil Nadu government now, but previously he served as the Minister for Finance and Human Resources Management. During his tenure as the Finance Minister, he holds degrees from MIT Trichy, SCNI and an MBA from MIT Sloan. As a third-generation politician, he continues his family legacy in the Dravidian movement.
Thank you very much for that very kind introduction and for inviting me to be part of this joyous occasion today. The Reverend Dr. Matthew Abraham, the Principal, he was a special guest, the Principal, Dr. Solomon Satish Kumar, the Associate Director, Dr. Soumya Satyendra, the Medical Superintendent, Dr. Rajan Shai, the Chaplain who delivered the opening prayer, Dr. Rebecca Zachariah who gave the welcome speech, Dr. Suma Joy who presented such a brilliant academic report and I assume was instrumental in creating that wonderful video that eventually ran, which showed the locations. My colleague in both the last and the current legislative assemblies, through Karthikeyan, the MLA, the dignitaries on and off the dais, the faculty and the staff of the Christian Medical College, and most of all of you graduates and your families. Good evening, congratulations, welcome, thank you. It is such a joy for me to be on this campus because I know so many people, including relatives and friends of mine, who graduated from here, who have a deep association with it, who taught here, who continue to teach here. A classmate of my cousin is heading one of the programs here. But I've never been here before. I've been to Vellore many times, but I've never been to the campus before. And I must say that certainly the best of Vellore was saved for the last, because I come here and I find it's like a little piece of heaven all by itself, isolated from the stresses and fissures of everyday life. And it must indeed be a wonderful joy to spend time on this campus, even as a student, let alone as faculty. I'm glad I got to feel a bit of that joy today. I want to use this occasion also to say something about the founder, particularly Dr. Scudder, but more generally about the tremendous contribution that American missionaries in particular, but missionaries from France and other places also, have made to the development of health and education in this part of the world, in what is the old Madras presidency. In fact, I think Vellore is a little bit of an exception, because if you look at the vast majority of their work, It was done in the southern part of our state, from Kanyakumari all the way up, let's say, through Vellore, Rajan, Palanivel, Madurai, Vellore. And it's no coincidence that some of the highest literacy rates in our state are coming from, in fact, the highest literacy rates district-wise is Kanyakumari, not Chennai, not Madurai, not Coimbatore, but Kanyakumari, because of the many institutions that were established there by the missionaries. And that's true all over the south, all the way to Trichy, I would say. But also in the field of health. I was reminiscing this evening with colleagues of mine about Dr. Parker Vaughan, a missionary graduate of Harvard Medical School, who chose to come to Madurai, Mathalagam, and Dindigul, spent her whole career there, unmarried for a long time, then married a widower, and is buried in the cemetery in Madurai, and in the course of her life adopted an Indian orphan, made her a doctor called Grace Kenneth, who then left a big legacy running one of the best orphanages and burn hospitals in Madurai today. My own uncle served for many years with the Christian Mission Hospital run by the CSI in Madurai, and I've seen some of the brilliant work they do there. So continuing today, but certainly pioneering, decades ago, more than a century ago, the impact of these missionaries who came far from home, often lived their whole lives and died and are buried here, has been invaluable to Madras presidencies, to Tamil Nadu, to Tamil societies, development and flourishing outcomes that we have today. So I use this occasion to respect them and honor their memory. I think it's very difficult to build institutions of very high quality or caliber. We have seen hundreds and hundreds of institutions proliferate, but to build an institution that has such remarkable quality, you have to create a culture of excellence. And I think what sets Vellore apart is for its scale, for the fact that it used to once graduate 60 doctors a year and now 100 full-time. The impact that its doctors have gone on to have around the country and the world is a measure of just how excellent the culture and therefore the quality of the graduates and education is. It is heartening to know, I have heard today, that the college was first set up only for women. Only women graduates came out of this institution for many years. Very often we hear of the opposite. We hear of so many institutions that were set up only for men. Even Harvard University didn't take women to very late. And here we have a shining example in our culture of inclusion and equality and social justice of an institution that focused only on getting women graduates and eventually let men in. It's also remarkable that many decades before COVID or the notion of distance learning becoming compulsory, a doctor had the vision to expand the impact of the excellent education and culture here beyond the 60 people to the many hundreds, for example, that have got graduated this year. It is hard enough to do distance education. It must have been very difficult to do it 20 years ago. It is even more difficult in my understanding in the field of medicine, because unlike most other fields, it requires lots of hands-on training, lots of clinical work, lots of motor skill development. And unlike, let's say, engineering or business or other degrees that I got, this is a more complex thing to pull off, this notion of blended education, because it's very hard to do truly distance or remote education. So for that, and for the fact that through such education, this institution is able to benefit vast sections of society. We've seen on the map all parts of this country, many parts of the world, and thereby improve the lives of so many, many thousands of people, I think is remarkable and commendable. I was just thinking also earlier today that my good friend Conrad Sangma, the Honourable Chief Minister of Meghalaya, the last time we met, we had dinner in Delhi last month, and he was mentioning how many of the doctors of Meghalaya come to Tamil Nadu for training and how invaluable that has been for their public health system. And in particular, I heard that many of them come here, so that's just an example in my mind. The last aspect of this that I find fascinating is, as the program director was telling me today, that many of the people who come for this distance degree are women who are returning to active work after taking some time off for childbearing or family reasons. And that is actually the need of our society today, is to make sure that all qualified people, especially the women who have developed both education and experience up to a certain level, should they choose to take some time off or for family reasons need to take some time off, that we are able to harness their talent and their skill and bring it back into active practice across all fields, but certainly across in medicine also. So I want to compliment CMC in so many ways, and this education program and all the different degrees and all the different medical directors and department heads who have contributed over 20 years to making it such a successful program with such great impact on society. I must then congratulate all of you to have taken the initiative, to have put in the work, to have traveled here when necessary, and all your families that supported you through such an arduous process. Today marks the culmination of this journey, but the beginning of a different journey with your new qualifications and skills. Under normal circumstances, I must actually step back and say, though I got 4 degrees from 3 different institutions in 2 different countries, I didn't go for my convocation for most of them. I think only one of them I went very late. But now I seem to be making up for it because I go to convocations all the time in all kinds of fields. And I was thinking that it's customary for convocation speakers to give some words of advice to the graduates. But in this case, most of you are now super specialized after your qualification. And I worry that if I let you, you'd actually advise me about my health rather than me giving you some advice. So I'm not sure it's appropriate, but I will say a few things because at least now I'm the Minister for Information Technology and Digital Services. I would say all aspects of society, all parts of our functioning systems are being greatly changed by the use of connected data and processing of information. That is happening in large measure in the health field as well. Maybe the government health systems are not quite keeping up yet, though I would say they're changing quite rapidly also. But in the open market, the use of technology, of the capture of data, the analysis of data is just exploding. So if I have a piece of advice to you, I would say just keep on top of that. Try to improve your own practices, your own kind of performance measurement of yourself, tracking of your patients, running of your hospitals, some of you may have your own, with as much information and analysis as possible. If you don't keep up with the developments will overtake you. And this is true in all times, at all places, but it's particularly true in the age of AI and the possibilities of almost infinite data collection automatically without a human being have to be in the process of entering data, and the ability to store it and process it across the wire in places like data centers and in the cloud. So there's going to be a big impact of AI, in my view, in the coming years, and it's going to require you to focus more on the human element, more on the thinking outside the box, and to learn to use the technology and to use the data in ways that make you a better doctor. No doctor, no human being has infinite memory. Nobody remembers all the data about every patient, but the computer has infinite memory. So every time you see a patient, make sure that you're fully briefed, you look at the entire history, the best hospitals and the best systems, actually will compare the clinical prognosis plus all the data for whatever the history of patient interaction that you had, and will make your job much better and much easier, and make your performance much better. So that's the only piece of advice I have for you. Like all fields, the field of medicine is changing dramatically, and try to keep on top of it. The one last request I would make, in many places in the world I have said that the Hippocratic Oath, roughly, of first do no harm, should be followed in equal measure by politicians, bureaucrats, the judiciary, which we don't do often enough. In that sense, I remind you of that great oath and say, please adhere to that at all times. You may or may not do less or more good, but always do no harm. Once again, let me congratulate all of you. Let me wish you the best. I hope you have successful careers and have a lot of impact on the societies in which you function. Thank you very much.
Encouraging and inspiring speech and for those pearls of wisdom. May I now we come to the zenith of the ceremony, the part you have all been waiting for, when each of you graduates are called upon to receive your rewards for all.
Now, here at CMC, over the last few years, there were also international students, and we had doctors from more than 50 countries who participated and did the course as well. And some of them actually proud and so happy with you. You've participated, you've persevered, you've passed the exam, and you are prepared to say something. I thought to myself, and this is just my
and excellence in project management. Dr. Herman Jadida, distinction in academic performance. Dr. Abhay Joseph, distinction in academic performance. My honor and privilege to present you, sir, the following